Hey everyone, it's your host Perfect. Welcome to Perfect Edition Comics. Today we're going to take a look at 20th Century Boys Perfect Edition Volume 1 by Naoki Urasawa. Let's do this thing. Hey, so today we got the first volume of 20th Century Boys. This is the Perfect Edition. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually show you a little bit of a size comparison compared to other normal manga that we have. So I've got a volume of One Piece here, normal tankobon. You can actually see that when we put it side by side or over the top overlay, you're actually getting a little bit more height, a lot more width. So oversized art in the Perfect Editions by Viz Media, which is great. This is also Viz's tankobon. So yeah, that's awesome. The other size comparison I have is Naruto, one of the thick 3-in-1 omnibus editions. You can see the difference is the same in terms of the page size, and it's almost as thick, even though this Perfect Edition just contains 2 volumes, whereas this contains 3. Lastly, what I have is one of Marvel's kind of mini trades, graphic novels that they do for teens. You can see here it's a little bit bigger than a normal tankobon, but still way down in terms of the actual page size that we have for the Perfect Editions from Viz. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea on size for this volume. The next thing that I want to get into is the actual quality, right? So you've got these awesome covers. Hopefully you can see the shine with the embossing along the front. Really, really, really beautiful. When we look at the covers, it's actually a thicker stock as well. On the back, we have this kind of, again, this embossed, half embossed gloss on that, which is awesome. When we look at the build of the book, we find it's got these French flaps. Pretty awesome. Got the interior design over here. When you actually look end to end on this volume, you'll see that kind of interwoven image with all the little pop out lines. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Both flap out. Let's talk a little bit about the Perfect Edition from Viz. It's obviously Viz that does all your normal manga. It's a Viz signature edition, and the Perfect Editions of things like 20th Century Boys, they actually come in a 2-in-1 volume, as I said already, oversized art, and the price is actually really reasonable. If you were to buy 2 volumes, maybe around $9. Over here you can actually see that US is $20, Canadian $27, and around £13 in the UK. So for me, this is the way I've decided to collect it. Really, really awesome to have these. They look great on the shelf. Spines actually match up. In future videos, I'll show you how those look together on the shelf with the kind of interjoining kind of pop style image in the spine here as well. If you don't know about 20th Century Boys, here's the intro itself. I'll read off the back of the book for you. Humanity, having faced extinction at the end of the 20th century, would not have entered the new millennium if it weren't for them. In 1969, during their youth, they created a symbol. In 1997, as coming disaster slowly starts to unfold, that symbol returns. This is the story of a group of boys who try to save the world. Well, couldn't have said it better myself, which I just did. But yeah, super good so far. I'm enjoying it. Let's take a look at this and really kind of see what shines in the Perfect Edition. The first thing that will shine out to you is that it's manga, but there's actually color. So there are a few color page inserts in here. So as I go through, I'll try and show you a few without spoiling too much. Let's talk about the size of the volume while we've got the table of contents here. You'll actually see that it's around, I think, 400, maybe just over 400 pages in total, around 416. You have a couple of color inserts. Basically what it does is collects 2 of the tankobon that I said earlier. So looking at the color, pretty awesome for the few pages that you get. Based in 1973, classic Japanese school scene. You can see it's kind of got the washed out watercolor styling, which suits it very well. So at the beginning, just a few intro pages that are in color. Again, when you actually look at Urasawa's art, and obviously that is his assistants, the background art is spectacular. It's almost photorealistic, whereas the way he does his characters and overlays them is kind of much more, you could say, cartoony, or you could actually say energetic. So it's more simplistic, but you can actually see what's going on with the characters versus the background. They really kind of pop out. So that's about all you have for the color. Color comes back in a few inserts in the volume, but then obviously, like all manga, black and white is where we are. But again, it's oversized artwork, which means it really does shine. The great thing about Viz is that, especially in their traditional volumes like this, they really try and stick with Japanese sound effects. So you'll see all the Japanese sound effects here, but what's great is if you go to the back of the volume and you actually take a look over here, you'll see this, which is your sound effects glossary. And what this does for you is it actually lists everything, right? So it'll have 6.3 at the beginning here, which is actually, page 6, panel 3, thunk. And then the Japanese version, which is bun, and it actually tells you what the sound is for, which is records falling. So you can literally go back, find page 6, find a picture of records falling. Let's try and do that quickly. Here we go, page 6, and you actually hear bun, and there's the records falling. So if you are really kind of OCD and want to get into your sounds and practice your Japanese, you can do that while you read this. Not trying to get into too many spoilers, but we'll take a quick look through some of the key pages in here just so that you can really see the art and see what shines. And for me, Naoki Urasawa, the thing that he's masterful at is actually people's faces. You might not think that, but in many comics you'll find faces all look the same, or they all come from the same stem, and therefore people and characters are hard to discern sometimes. But in this you can really see the difference. So this is the mother of our hero Shinji, and you look at these two and they're kind of similar, but there's enough to break them down and make them different. You can see these two police officers that come in here, very specific different faces and expressions. Very awesome at how he kind of brings in expressions. And again, here you can see how the hyper-realistic background art is mixed into kind of more the dynamic people that are overlaid on top. Of course, I should say that the great thing for these volumes is actually that it collects all 22 volumes from the original Tankobon. Those now come together in just, well, there's 9 now, but probably about 11 of these, so 2 in 1. And so far the releases are up to volume 9. Volume 9 actually gets released in September of this year, 2020. So hopefully, early 2021, we'll have all of this collected in perfect edition format. The good thing about the perfect editions, as well as obviously the oversized art, the French flaps, the color inserts, is that you also get all the notes at the end as well, which add a bit of flavor to what you're reading. And some of this is not safe for work and also spoilery. But over here we have all the translator and editor notes where you can actually see and understand all the different parts. So the story takes place through different times between the 70s and in the 80s and 90s. So it's good to kind of keep track of what's going on. Here's some more of the color inserts and back into the main story. Kind of jumps around quite a lot between when the characters were younger and when they're older. It's really great in a way the story actually flips back and tells you kind of what happened 20, 30 years ago and then reflects on it now in the current time. You'll also find these kind of linear notes over here, which is great. In this case, it's actually kind of talking about some wrestling that went on, which the kids here are talking about in the manga that they're reading in the magazines, and the wrestling that they kind of hear about on the radio or see on TV. So lots of facts interjected as well, which is awesome. So yeah, really, I couldn't recommend this enough. For me, this is also the most awesome format to collect and read this in. And Urasawa just really does such a great job of telling stories and keeping pacing. And the story, as well as the art, kind of really keeps you gripped and keeps you moving. As I said, he uses this technique of going back and forward in time to kind of really flesh out some of the secrets and some of the mysteries that are going on. This isn't your standard Naruto or shonen manga. This is something where it's in a way a thinking man's manga, but something which it's not just non-stop action. There's a lot more mystery and intrigue and kind of slice of life going on, which makes it really, really awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much it. To me, one of the modern classics in terms of art stylings and story. Great match between them both, and really these perfect editions by Viz Sig and Viz Signature. Yeah, they're definitely the way to go. You can buy most of them online, actually, way below cover. So I think I got this for around 13 or so, or equivalent of $10. I bought it here in Europe. So yeah, 20th Century Boys, perfect edition. If I was you, I'd pick it up.